Parker Schnabel faced one of the most challenging seasons of his mining career. The work was relentless, the conditions harsh, and the pressure greater than ever before. The days were long, often stretching far into the night, with cold winds cutting through the camp and frost covering every surface. Every machine groaned under the strain of constant use, and every crew member was pushed to the limit. Parker demanded more from his team than ever, insisting that every scoop, every bucket of gravel be mined to its maximum potential. The weight of the claim rested heavily on his shoulders, and he carried it with the experience of someone who had grown up in the Yukon, learning every lesson the land could teach. Despite Parker's relentless drive, tensions began to rise within the camp. Fatigue, frustration, and exhaustion combined to create cracks in the team. Small disagreements turned into arguments, and the long hours made every minor mistake feel monumental. Machines would break down, and in the chaos, tempers flared. Parker's instructions, usually clear and decisive, were sometimes lost in the noise of frustration and anger. Crew members whispered to one another about whether the relentless push was worth it. Some questioned Parker's judgment, wondering if he had become blinded by his obsession with gold. Then, the breaking point came. One of the excavators tore itself apart during a particularly intense operation. Metal screeched against metal, and the chaos in the camp escalated. Voices shouted over one another as men argued about the danger and the impossibility of the task at hand. It was at this moment that some crew members decided they had had enough. Boots crunched across the frozen gravel as they walked away from the claim, engines roaring to life in the dark Yukon night. Parker was left alone, surrounded by still machines and a seemingly endless stretch of frozen ground. The silence that followed was heavy, almost suffocating. The departure of his team did not intimidate him. Parker understood the risks, and he knew the stakes were higher than ever. The following morning, Parker addressed the remaining crew members who had stayed behind. Their faces were pale and drawn, showing signs of exhaustion and disbelief at what had occurred the night before. The workload had doubled, and the odds against them seemed impossible. Despite the strain, Parker remained calm and focused, guiding his team with unwavering determination. He knew that the ground beneath them held secrets that could change everything, and he was ready to take the risk to uncover them. The few who had stayed behind listened intently, understanding the magnitude of what they were about to face. Parker's instincts led him to a section of the claim known as the Hollow Cut. This area had been written off by previous miners, declared dead and ignored for decades. Most people believed there was nothing left to find there, but Parker saw something others did not. Subtle signs in the ground, faint streaks of black sand in the gravel, and glimmers in the pans hinted at the possibility of gold. These were small details, almost imperceptible to anyone but Parker. To him, they were proof that the land still held untold wealth, waiting to be discovered by someone willing to trust their instincts and push through the fear. Machines roaring to life once more, Parker led the effort. The few crew members who remained worked tirelessly under his direction, moving machinery, clearing muck, and preparing for what could be the most significant discovery of the season. Hours passed, the work was grueling, and the storm raged around them. Rain hammered the ground, turning the gravel into slippery mud, while lightning flashed across the dark skies, illuminating the vast stretch of untouched Yukon wilderness. Parker never faltered. He worked alongside his team, manually adjusting machinery and removing obstacles, determined to reach the gold he believed lay beneath. Then the moment came. Parker personally pulled back a sluice mat and revealed what no one expected. Bright streaks glimmered against the dark mud, thick pieces of gold spilling free from the gravel. The remaining crew members froze, unable to believe their eyes. The gold was not small flakes or dust, but solid nuggets, large and heavy, each one a testament to the richness of the claim. Men knelt in shock, lifting pieces carefully, testing their weight and size, realizing that the ground they had dismissed as barren was actually hiding a fortune. The Hollow Cut, a place thought to be empty for generations, was alive with gold. The discovery spread like wildfire. Rumors traveled along the Klondike Highway, whispered in bars, and carried by truckers and rival miners. News of Parker's incredible find reached ears far beyond the immediate camp, and suddenly the Hollow Cut became the center of attention across the Yukon. The gold was extraordinary, richer than anything seen in decades. Yet Parker maintained focus, refusing to let excitement or chaos compromise the careful process of extraction. Every bucket, every tray of gold was weighed and documented, ensuring that nothing was overlooked and that the claim could be managed efficiently. Even as the gold flowed, Parker faced new challenges. Rival miners and corporations began circling, some with legal paperwork, others with less transparent intentions. Surveillance drones were spotted above the camp, their red lights blinking ominously as they observed every move. The claim, once a simple mining operation, became a fortress. Parker implemented strict security measures, rotating crews on guard duty through the night, ensuring that the gold remained safe and the operation continued without interruption. Mud walls were reinforced, trucks were stationed strategically, and the remaining team worked with unmatched discipline. The work continued relentlessly. Sluice boxes clogged with the heavy gold, trays bent under the weight, and every cleanout revealed more riches than anyone could have imagined. The strike was so massive that professional assayers were called in to measure purity and confirm its value. When the results came back, they stunned everyone. The gold was of extraordinary purity, far surpassing anything mined in the region in decades. The discovery had rewritten the expectations for the claim and had made history in the Yukon. Parker's leadership remained calm and steady amidst the chaos. The gold had brought not only wealth, but also danger. Storms raged, equipment failed, and tensions ran high. Yet Parker never wavered. He continued to push, guided by intuition and experience, knowing that the heart of the claim was still deeper, still waiting to be uncovered. His crew followed his lead, their loyalty tested and strengthened by the shared struggle and the reward of the discovery. The deserters, those who had walked away in anger or frustration, watched from the edges of the claim. Some attempted to return, hoping for forgiveness or a second chance, but Parker carefully chose who could rejoin. Not everyone was allowed back. Only those whose determination and trust matched the intensity of the operation were brought back into the fold. The rest were turned away, forced to confront their own choices and the consequences of abandoning the claim at such a critical moment. By sunrise, Parker's claim had become a legend. The gold continued to flow, millions poured through sluice boxes, and the numbers climbed higher than anyone could have imagined. The camp was alive with energy, excitement, and exhaustion. Everyone understood that they were witnessing history, a moment few would ever experience again. The discovery had not only brought wealth, but also tested the limits of human endurance, leadership, and courage. Even after the initial discovery, Parker knew the operation was far from over. The hollow cut had proven its worth, but the ground still held secrets deeper than anyone could see. Every bucket lifted, every sluice box emptied, revealed more gold. The accumulation was staggering, yet Parker remained vigilant. The Yukon was unpredictable. Storms could strike at any moment, machines could fail without warning, and the pressure on the claim continued to grow. He refused to let excitement cloud judgment, insisting that the work be done carefully, with attention to detail and safety. Nightfall brought new challenges. The darkness transformed the camp into a maze of shadows, and the wind carried a biting cold that cut through clothing and burned exposed skin. Parker implemented night rotations, the crew ensuring that someone was always watching the claim. Trucks with headlights piercing the darkness circled the perimeter, while guards moved silently through the mud, listening for any signs of trouble. The gold had turned a simple claim into a fortress, and Parker understood that the stakes were higher than ever. One mistake, one moment of carelessness could mean losing everything they had fought so hard to uncover. The storm that raged over the Yukon that night was relentless. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the vast stretches of untouched wilderness, while thunder rolled like the roar of ancient giants. Rain fell sideways, soaking the camp and turning the ground into thick, treacherous mud. Yet the work did not stop. Parker led from the front, his boots sinking into the muck as he checked machinery, directed the crew, and personally oversaw critical sections of the operation. Every member of the team understood that this was no ordinary mining season. They were part of history in the making, and their dedication had to match the magnitude of the strike. As the gold poured in, the camp became a controlled chaos. Sluice boxes overflowed with thick, wet gold, and trays bent under the incredible weight. Each cleanout revealed more and more wealth, and the numbers grew almost impossibly fast. Parker insisted that every nugget, every ounce be weighed, measured, and recorded meticulously. Professional assayers were called in to verify the purity, and when the results were confirmed, jaws dropped. The gold was unlike anything seen in decades, clean, dense, and rich beyond imagination. It was a discovery that would define Parker's career and reshape expectations for mining in the Yukon. Meanwhile, news of the strike spread like wildfire. Rival miners who had once doubted Parker's instincts began circling the claim. Trucks appeared on the horizon, surveyors marked lines, and legal documents were waved in the air as if trying to stake a claim by intimidation. Drones hovered above, their red lights blinking ominously as they recorded every move. The quiet, frozen wilderness had turned into a battlefield disguised as a mining operation. Parker knew he had to protect his discovery, not just from nature, but from people who saw the gold as theirs for the taking. Parker tightened security. Trucks were positioned to block access, crews rotated overnight on guard duty, and the remaining team members worked tirelessly to maintain the operation. The camp became a fortress, mud walls reinforced, equipment checked constantly, and every night brought new challenges. Floodwaters threatened to wash away sections of the claim, heavy machinery slid dangerously close to disaster, and the relentless Yukon storms tested the limits of human endurance. Every member of the crew understood that this was not just a strike for gold, it was a battle to control something far more valuable than money. Through it all, Parker remained calm and focused. He never let fear or chaos disrupt the mission. Even when machines failed or the weather grew worse, he stayed composed, leading by example. The crew followed his direction with trust and loyalty, knowing that Parker's instincts had guided them this far. Every ounce of gold pulled from the ground reinforced the belief that the hollow cut was more than a lucky strike. It was a vault, a pocket of wealth that had waited decades to be discovered, and Parker had been the one to uncover it. Tensions outside the camp grew as well. The deserters, those who had abandoned Parker during the initial mutiny, reacted to the news with disbelief and rage. Some tried to return, seeking forgiveness or a second chance, while others spread rumors designed to tarnish Parker's name. They accused him of recklessness, claimed the ground was cursed, and whispered about dangers that no one could see. Yet Parker paid little attention. He focused on the gold, on the team who had remained loyal, and on the careful extraction that had brought them to this moment. Every tray of gold told a story. The numbers climbed faster than anyone could process, reaching milestones that seemed impossible. First 20 million, then 40, then 60 million, and finally the count surpassed $80 million. The sheer weight of the discovery was almost overwhelming. Men shouted, cheered, and cried in disbelief. The storm above seemed to echo their emotions, thunder and lightning marking the historic moment. Yet Parker stood still, the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. This was not luck. It was skill, determination, and an unshakable belief in the instincts that had guided him for years. The hollow cut had come alive. Gold flowed as if the land itself were offering a long-hidden treasure to those patient and brave enough to uncover it. The camp became a hive of activity, with crews working double shifts, hands bleeding, faces streaked with mud and exhaustion. Every cleanout revealed even more riches, and Parker knew the heart of the claim had still held secrets yet to be found. The Yukon had tested him, challenged him, and pushed him to the brink, but he had prevailed. His instincts, his leadership, and his willingness to trust the land had rewritten history. Rival miners and corporations continued to circle, but Parker's fortress held strong. The combination of loyalty, discipline, and careful planning ensured that the gold remained under his control. Storms, sabotage, and threats could not stop the work. Every ounce extracted reinforced the reality of the strike and solidified Parker's legacy. What had begun as a quiet, abandoned section of land had turned into a historic discovery, a testament to determination, patience, and the courage to follow instincts when others walked away. Even as the gold continued to flow, Parker understood that the journey was not finished. The hollow cut had revealed a fortune, but it also carried a weight, a responsibility to manage the claim wisely, to protect the operation, and to ensure that the historic discovery would be preserved for generations. Every day brought new challenges, new dangers, and new tests of endurance. Yet Parker faced each one with calm resolve, knowing that the greatest discoveries often demand the greatest sacrifices. The legend of Parker's hollow cut spread quickly. Across the Yukon, radios buzzed with excitement, bars filled with whispered stories, and miners who had once doubted his instincts marveled at the results. It was a discovery that would be remembered for generations, a strike that had transformed the perception of what was possible in the region. Parker, standing amid the gold, understood the enormity of what he had accomplished. He had trusted the land when others abandoned it. He had led with patience, courage, and unwavering belief in his instincts, and the results were historic. Over $80 million in gold emerging from a section of the claim that had been written off for decades. With the gold now flowing and the hollow cut proving to be one of the richest discoveries in Yukon history, Parker understood that the real work had only just begun. The initial rush of extraction and the excitement of uncovering such wealth were only the beginning. He had to manage the claim, the gold, and the people around him carefully. Every ounce of gold extracted carried both opportunity and risk. Parker's leadership was being tested in ways beyond mining skill. It was about strategy, security, and keeping a fractured team united in the face of unprecedented pressure. The deserters who had walked away just hours before the strike discovered the truth quickly. Word traveled fast, and rumors reached them as soon as the gold was verified. Regret consumed many, but their return was not guaranteed. Parker was selective. Loyalty, discipline, and the ability to withstand pressure were the metrics he used to judge who would stay. Some pleaded for forgiveness, begging to be allowed back on the claim, while others returned with anger, bitterness, and resentment in their eyes. Parker listened carefully, but made decisions quietly. Not everyone deserved a second chance. This was not about punishment. It was about protecting a historic discovery and ensuring that the operation would not be compromised. For those allowed to stay, the work intensified. Parker's demands were as high as ever. Machines were pushed to their limits, crews worked double shifts, and the stakes grew with every tray of gold. The hollow cut had proven it could produce millions, but only through careful, precise operation. Mistakes were not an option. Every day was a test of endurance, focus, and teamwork. Parker made it clear that this strike was more than just a financial windfall. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and failure was not something he was willing to accept. Outside the camp, rival miners and corporations reacted quickly. Surveyors and lawyers moved in, marking claim lines, presenting permits, and challenging Parker's rights to the land. Trucks circled like predators, and drones hovered overhead, recording every action at the camp. The gold made Parker's claim a target, and he knew it. He tightened security, established watch rotations, and created defenses against both the elements and potential intruders. Every measure was calculated to protect the operation. Parker knew that the value of the hollow cut was not just in its immediate extraction, it was in maintaining control of a discovery that had the power to change Yukon mining history forever. Storms continued to batter the area. The harsh conditions of the Yukon never let up. Floodwaters threatened to wash away equipment, heavy winds tested the integrity of temporary structures, and freezing temperatures put every machine and human to the test. Parker remained in control, moving steadily through the chaos. Every decision was deliberate: when to push the extraction, when to hold back, and how to rotate crews to prevent exhaustion. He understood that endurance and strategy mattered as much as skill and luck. The hollow cut demanded respect, and Parker had no intention of underestimating the land. Amid the chaos, the gold continued to pour in. Sluice boxes overflowed, trays bent under the weight, and the numbers climbed higher than anyone had anticipated. Millions were added day after day, confirming that this was no ordinary strike. It was a historic discovery, and Parker's instincts had guided him to the right place at the right time. The magnitude of the find was staggering, but Parker did not allow pride or excitement to interfere with the work. Extraction had to remain methodical, controlled, and precise. Every ounce of gold counted, and every mistake could be costly. The returning crew members who had once walked away faced new challenges. Parker made it clear that loyalty was measured by actions, not words. Those who had left before the discovery had to prove themselves anew. Some accepted the chance humbly, working tirelessly to regain Parker's trust. Others, consumed by anger and envy, could not adapt and were sent away. Parker understood the importance of surrounding himself with a team that would follow his lead without hesitation. The hollow cut was too valuable to risk on divided loyalties or weak resolve. Legal and corporate pressures intensified. Notices from government agencies reminded Parker of permits, taxes, and regulations, while corporations eyed the claim, calculating ways to take control. Offers flooded in, partnerships, buyouts, and security deals, but Parker remained focused on the land itself. This was about more than money. It was about history, legacy, and the satisfaction of seeing years of hard work pay off in a way that few could ever imagine. Every day required vigilance, and Parker remained at the center, guiding the operation with calm precision despite the chaos surrounding him. The legend of the hollow cut grew with every tray of gold. Stories spread across the Yukon, and even veteran miners admitted they had never seen numbers like this in their lifetimes. The discovery became more than a strike. It was a historic discovery, and Parker's instincts had guided him to the right place at the right time. The magnitude of the find was staggering, but Parker did not allow pride or excitement to interfere with the work. Extraction had to remain methodical, controlled, and precise. Every ounce of gold counted, and every mistake could be costly. The returning crew members who had once walked away faced new challenges. Parker made it clear that loyalty was measured by actions, not words. Those who had left before the discovery had to prove themselves anew. Some accepted the chance humbly, working tirelessly to regain Parker's trust. Others, consumed by anger and envy, could not adapt and were sent away. Parker understood the importance of surrounding himself with a team that would follow his lead without hesitation. The hollow cut was too valuable to risk on divided loyalties or weak resolve. Legal and corporate pressures intensified. Notices from government agencies reminded Parker of permits, taxes, and regulations, while corporations eyed the claim, calculating ways to take control. Offers flooded in, partnerships, buyouts, and security deals, but Parker remained focused on the land itself. This was about more than money. It was about history, legacy, and the satisfaction of seeing years of hard work pay off in a way that few could ever imagine. Every day required vigilance, and Parker remained at the center, guiding the operation with calm precision despite the chaos surrounding him. Extreme pressure, all guided by Parker's instincts and leadership. As the days turned into weeks, the magnitude of the hollow cut became undeniable. The gold was real, the numbers astonishing, and the operation a testament to Parker's vision and resilience. The deserters who had left hours before the strike could only watch in disbelief as history unfolded without them. Parker had not only uncovered wealth, but had solidified his reputation as a miner who could trust his instincts, lead under pressure, and achieve what many thought impossible. The hollow cut was no longer just a discovery. It was a story of loyalty, perseverance, and the courage to believe in something others had abandoned. Parker had created a legacy, one measured not only in gold, but in determination, strategy, and the respect earned from those who witnessed the historic strike. Every challenge, from storms, rival miners, and legal pressures, had been met with calm focus and skill. The hollow cut had proven that sometimes history waits for those brave enough to uncover it. As weeks passed, the hollow cut continued to produce gold beyond anyone's expectations. Parker knew that every ounce coming out of the ground had to be handled with precision. There was no room for mistakes, and the stakes were higher than ever. Every day required careful planning, from rotating crews to maintaining machines under extreme conditions. The Yukon had proven its unforgiving nature, and Parker understood that success meant respecting the land and anticipating every challenge before it happened. Extraction was relentless. The crew worked tirelessly, moving dirt, managing sluice boxes, and hauling gold to secure locations. The volume of gold being pulled was staggering, and the operation demanded constant attention. Parker supervised every step, knowing that a lapse in judgment could lead to disaster. Machines had to be kept in perfect condition, and every team member needed to be alert, focused, and ready for sudden emergencies. The cold, storms, and floodwaters never stopped, but the hollow cut continued to deliver.